Yeah, hi, my name is Anil Kumar R. I am a student of Prototype batch BC36. So today I would like to speak on a topic HTTP. So what is HTTP? Basically, HTTP means the full form is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So what it is? Basically, it means HTTP means it is basically a set of rules uh, or rules which is on how the communication should happen between a client and a server. So client is basically your personal laptop or mobile phone, and you are trying to access a web page or some data which is stored in a server. Which server means that is also a computer which is stored in some other physical location. So that communication, so that set of rules in how the communication should happen is defined in HTTP. So basically, this communication between the client and server happens on the basis of a request response cycle. That is how the communication happens in on inside HTTP, in HTTP. So here, what it means that you are asking for a web page. You are somebody, if the client is asking for a web page, a request is sent to the server, and the server gives a response. So basically, so whenever a request is sent, the server checks whether it has an information what it known and sends a response. So this type of communication is HTTP communication stateless. That means that it only the server only respond gives a response when there is a request. After the response is given, it does not store the previous memory, what the before request was or something like that. That means the communication is not like continuously maintained between the server and the client. Only when the request is raised, then only the response. So communication only happens when a request and response happens. Otherwise, there is no communication between the client and the server. So that is what it means by it is a stateless communication. And yeah, so that is a basic concept on how HTTP works. And then there is something known as HTTPS. That is same thing, hypertext transfer protocol secure. This is basically used for to make the site more secure. Like if you are submitting a form with passwords, and you are having a site with credit card numbers and all, so if you are using those sites, basically it would be HTTPS, but generally nowadays most of the sites are forcing HTTPS now, and it is better because it is more secure actually. And this is basically achieved by something known as secure socket layer and transport security layer. This is achieved by installing a security certificate. Okay, so this is achieved by installing a security certificate in the web server. uh, so that is basically HTTPS. And this about HTTPS, this there are different type of methods which are used in HTTPS. Basically, some of the basic are like get method. Like when a request is raised from the client side, get request, if it is as a get method, it is basically used for getting the page, like static web page, whatever data we want to get, some data from the server. So we use the get method. And we use the post method. Post method is like used in some forms or etc., or some login password or something, where we want to submit our data to the server, and based on that you get a you get a corresponding response. So this post method is basically more secure than the get method, because in post the data is hidden. In get, the data can be seen in the display URI. And then there is a put method. In put method, basically what happens is that you want to update the data in the server, so you use the put method. like you want to update a blog or something, you use the put method. Then there is the delete method. That is obviously you want to delete some data from the server, you can use the delete method. And then there is something known as HTTP status codes. Basically this HTTP status code is described in the series of like 100, 200, 300, 400 or 500. So 100 is basically general information, that's it. And the 200, this all these things can be found via the inspect element. By like if you go to the inspect element on the website and you go to the network, and then you can see all that response request in that for that particular website. So whenever you click a form, then you can observe that a request response which is happening. On that basis, you can observe what type of HTTP status code is happening. Like for example, if it is showing 200, that means okay, that response is successful and everything. Then if you get a 300 for every click, what happens if you get a 300? That means that particular website which you are asking might not be in that server. It might be redirected to some other server. So you get a 300 code. Then if you like for you get a 400 status code, that means it might be a like it is an error basically from the client side, like you have forgotten to enter. There might be a mandatory section where you have to enter your name or something, and you did not, and you submitted. So you will get a client error 404. What 400 basis error. Maybe like for example, if it is 404, it is basically the page is not found, something like that. Then there is something known as 500 series. That is basically not from the client side, there is some problem on the server side. So on that basis, if you get an error that is showing that there is something wrong in the server side, so so you will get a 500 series error. Okay, so that is a basic HTTP status code. All these things you can find out in the inspect element. You go to inspect element on the web page, you can see on the network tab, you can see all these settings. Then another last thing I want to add is that basically for every request on the which you have sent from the client has basically a header. It is known as a header file. So basically that header has like your type of method, your URI, and the version of the HTTP will be basically shown. That is one part, and then the body part, which is not mandatory, but the header part. So yeah, this is a basic idea on what an HTTP is, a brief description. Yeah, thank you.